The Digital Photography Cafe show is brought to you by Focus Pyramid, the autofocus lens calibration tool for your camera.
Welcome to the Digital Photography Cafe show. Join hosts Trevor Current and Joseph Christina as they serve up the hottest photography news and commentary.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. This is episode 179. I'm Joseph Christina here with my co-host Trevor Current. On last week's show, we talked about currentphotographer.com's new DIY website solution, 17 Hats business management application, and the Olympus OMD M5 Mark II. If you haven't watched last week's show, I encourage you to do so. You can find it at digitalphotographycafe.com and our YouTube channel, youtube.com/dphotocafe. Listen with the popular Stitcher, TuneIn, and Xbox Music apps, or subscribe through iTunes or RSS.
So, Joe, we made it home from Las Vegas.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Yeah, especially you. God, you ended up having to stay an extra day. What happened, bro?
Oh, man. It's wintertime, and here in the Northeast, it was getting, we were getting a snow and sleet and mess storm rolling in on Thursday, the day that we were leaving. That was March 5th. And, I checked Southwest from my phone, and it said, you are eligible to change your flight due to the possibility of cancellation or delayed flights. So I'm like, and meanwhile...
Yeah, that translates into change your flight. Yeah, you're going to be stuck in an airport that you don't want to be.
Yeah. Meanwhile, I was on Facebook earlier in the day, and I saw an airliner skidded off the runway at LaGuardia. And I'm like, obviously it's pretty bad. So, you know what? We're just going to stay here an extra day.
Yeah. So if any of you guys didn't listen to last week's show, Trevor and myself, we were at WPPI at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas for the week, basically covering the trade show. It was really awesome. It was a lot of fun. The actual show runs from February 26th on through March 5th, but we came in, you came in at the end of last month or beginning, and you were there for an extra day for setup, but we were there basically for the entire week, the first week of March, right?
Yeah, I was almost there for a full 7 days. It was, a long trip, a good trip, a fun trip. I mean, we had a really good time. It was good actually seeing you face to face in person, rather than, video face,
Right.
So
it's a good thing, but yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, it was good. It was fun. We had a good time. We did a lot. I mean, it was a very busy week. We started out on Saturday was the long flight for me, like 9 hours of travel. When I got there, I was just wiped. It was just such a day. And then, of course, I'm trying to get a hold of my printed material for down at the booth, and they couldn't track that down. So that turned into a big nightmare. Right. So that it all got resolved. But Saturday was a bear. And then Sunday, I went down to the trade show floor and was setting up the booth a good portion of the day, tracked down all my printed stuff. That was quite the event too. That was actually an adventure because somebody signed for it that wasn't supposed to, and it wound up getting stored in like this other area. And I had all these really great people at the MGM like helping me track this down. And this one guy says, "Come on, let's go for a ride." And he throws me in this Polaris side-by-side, and we start zipping around outside around the MGM, like in the bowels of the MGM, like the areas that nobody ever sees except those who work there, and we're like passing the forklifts and stuff like that. It was really pretty cool. Turns out it was like, 5 booths down from where it was supposed to be. It was just, assigned to the wrong booth.
Yeah, so that happens. And, my travels were similar to yours. And, that's why anyone asks, what do? I work from Miami to Manhattan. That's my stomping grounds. I stay East Coast. And the reason being is just simply this. When I go over to the coast, things get just nutty. And I lose a day there. I lose a day back. Yep. I mean, I couldn't get from my airport, from PBI, I could not get a direct route. I had to get this layover deal. And what's ridiculous is I come out of Palm Beach and then I have to fly to LAX. So I actually have to pass Las Vegas.
You overshot Vegas, yeah.
overshoot Vegas completely. And then once I'm there, I have a 2-hour layover, like a bus or something, and finally get on a plane to go back. And of course, we're delayed because a huge storm rolls in. I don't know. It never rains in the desert. Of course, it rained for me, but the sky just opened up. It was black. It was absolutely horrible. And we ended up with an hour delay there. So yeah, literally it was probably 9-10 hours worth of travel to get over into Vegas. It was just absolutely nuts. But yeah, what happens is when you get there, you're absolutely spent. You're just tired. You're done.
Oh yeah.
So you lose, like I said, you lose a day there, you lose a day back. So, but all in all, it ended up turning out really quite nice. I know you worked the booth. You were at the booth most of the time. I did some interviewing for most of my time. And then we had a lot of like little occasions that happened that were absolutely stellar, right? One of them was a pool party, which the WPPI threw. That was just mega. It was probably like, how many people you think? Maybe 500?
Oh my God,
1,000?
yeah.
It was 2 pools.
It was huge. Yeah, there were 2
huge.
pools. And
DJ,
there was free
bar.
food set up around the pools. I mean, a cash bar,
Right?
Well, whatever. I mean, that was all right. But
Yeah.
it was packed around both pools, and it's really funny. I mean, we just happened to see somebody we knew. We went over to them, said hi, and it just so happens they were hanging out at the DP Review cabana,
Right.
Outside at the pool.
Right.
So that was really good. We got introduced to a couple of the folks from DP Review and started chatting with them for a little bit. And then that kind of turned into like an evening thing, which was awesome. I mean,
it was very, very interesting. It was a lot of fun. And wow, the folks at DP Review were absolutely amazing. And then we got to meet a photographer also that was there. And some of his work was just really, really stellar, right?
Yeah, John Peck, he was there. He's a ex-military guy.
Right.
He now flies commercial airliners. I think for American, he said.
Yeah, I think it's American. That's right.
Yeah, I think he used to fly like the refueling planes, so like the big planes, not like little jets and stuff. Right. And he had some amazing photography. Images that you just can't get.
No.
And most of us will, never see these types of images except in books or in movies or something like that. But I mean, these are just amazing images, like mid-air shots, refueling shots. I mean, he did things where he was in one plane and he was photographing through the windows, of into another plane where he had a flash sitting on their dashboard that went off,
with a remote trigger.
Yeah. I mean, really cool stuff. I mean, it was great stuff. So if you're watching the video, you're seeing some of his images scroll by right now. Just really amazing stuff. And it was really cool because he had them all on his iPhone. So we're able to stand there and check it out and look at all the images. And
so we're drinking, we're eating, we're listening to some amazing music from the DJs, and we're looking at these amazing photographs. I mean, hanging out with the guys at DP. I mean, you can't get a better night. I mean, it was just really a lot of fun. Yeah,
it was real good.
And so then the following night, something even more kind of interesting happens, right, with PMA.
Yeah. So if you guys don't know or have never heard of PMA, the Photo Marketing Association, they are one of the oldest photography associations out there. In the past, they were the photography show. Yes. They used to fill the Las Vegas Convention Center every year.
Yeah, that's no. Just listen to that, Las Vegas Convention Center. And we're not talking about like WPPI that's doing just simply inside of the MGM. The Las Vegas Convention Center is massive.
Yeah,
it is massive. That's where they hold like CES and extremely large trade shows. So yeah, and they would fill it.
Oh yeah. I mean, and we're talking before digital. Right. So think of all of the people that were there. I mean, traditional film manufacturers. The thing is, it wasn't geared specifically for photographers. It was geared for the photo industry. So you had people everywhere from photo store owners, mom and pop shops, to the big retailers who were buying equipment from the manufacturers. You had photo finishers who were buying printing equipment.
Right. And then all the manufacturers of the equipment too. And then, so it was more like a trade show of everyone, just everything, all encompassing in photography, period. So
correct.
It was quite a meeting of the minds. You had a ton of folks. And now PMA has kind of went down a little bit, or maybe we should say a lot of bit.
Almost into non-existency.
Right.
Yeah.
And we were asked to be one of the 12 in a focus group on basically how are we going to save PMA? How are we going to bring it back?
Yeah, how to revive it.
How do we revive it? What can be done with PMA to kind of bring it to the now and bring it to the tomorrow so that, my kids can enjoy PMA and not just, the past, because they've been around for extremely a long time. It'd be horrible for that organization to disappear. So hopefully during this focus group session, there was just a ton of great information. And what was really interesting, guys, with this focus group is there was people from all walks of life, from all different industries. And the collective was just, the thoughts were just absolutely stellar. They had just, great ideas were introduced. And what I really liked was that just that kind of openness and sharing, even with, let's say, two parties that do the exact same thing that you would think are competitors, which could be competitors, but just in a different room. In that room, they were no longer competitors. They were literally trying to figure out what can we do to really revive this organization that just we cannot see go by the wayside, right?
Right. And a lot of these people were, industry, old timers. I mean, they have been there and saw the heyday of PMA, back in the 80s and have basically watched its decline all of these years. So, many of the people in that room were definitely our senior. We were kind of like the young guys in the room, which was really good. I mean, it was good because we got to learn from them. I mean, these people have the wisdom. I mean, they have the insight. They've seen it all. And, Joe and I are coming from a different perspective where we're able to share today's viewpoint and what today's photographer needs and wants are. And what our observations and insights are in the industry. And I think we had a great conversation. I really, I think there's some really good stuff going to come out of this. And I think we're really going to see PMA make a revival in a different way than the way it existed before.
Yeah, I think it's going to change. It's going to be, it's going to, metamorphosize. I think it's going to have to go into a little shell, come in from a worm into a butterfly again. That's just how it's going to have to be. And I tell you what, I have to personally thank all you guys out there, because you're the ones that constantly ask the questions that we are constantly doing, reviewing and gathering information and keeping both thumbs on the pulse of the industry. And that's why I really do think that, our input definitely was well received. And I think that, and like I said, from you guys, it keeps us really on the cutting edge. And we have to stay abreast of what's going on. And we listen to you. So when, 40, 50,000 of you guys are asking or at least listening and kind of communicating, we get that feedback and we can kind of pass it along. And I think it's definitely informative for all parties. And it was just an amazing night.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we got a great meal afterward, and we got to share some time together on a personal level, and not necessarily talk shop, but of course some tool conversations were there. So
sure.
But it was a good time, really good time. Enjoyed ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely. So CP websites, huh? What are we thinking here? How's it going? What's going on?
This was big. So as I had said on the last show, I kind of announced it on Digital Photography Cafe that Current Photographer was officially announcing a new, let's say, do-it-yourself portfolio, e-commerce, website builder solution. As you know, my background is a web designer and graphic designer for a long time. And basically kind of putting this solution together. Well, we officially announced it at WPPI. We were in the booth. That's where I spent my 3 days actually on the floor for, from 10 in the morning until 4 in the afternoon, talking with all of you guys, all of the photographers, all of the wedding and portrait people, all of the event photographers, and discussing, what your needs are, discussing what you want in a photography website, discussing what additional features you need, like let's say online appointment booking or contact relation management integration, or really where my partnership with collages.net comes in is the gallery management and online proofing, the digital assets like applications and such, and also print fulfillment. And the beautiful thing is collages.net is actually an H&H Color Lab owned property.
Right.
They're part of their family of businesses. So all of their print fulfillment is done through H&H.
And if you haven't tried or used or looked at H&H's offerings, you really need to.
Oh yeah,
because they, if you were there, you saw their booth. It's just absolutely unbelievable the stuff that they're doing. They're doing similar things that you see in the industry, which they all have to do, but then they just take it to the next level, and they do things that are more innovative and more special and more custom. So that when you are offering, let's say, a print, it's not just simply a print. It might be a print that's on metal, or maybe it's a print on maybe some type of watercolor paper, or just something, really different looks and different things. And that's really what sets you guys apart, right? Everyone's looking at, why is my business not doing so good? Well, what are you doing different than the other guy? It can't just be price. It's got to be what you're showing. And that's where print comes in. If you're not printing and showing people books, if you're not printing and showing people wall art, if you're not printing and actually seeing and allowing people to feel and touch and look at the beautiful things that you create, you're doing yourself a disjustice, because people cannot see this, smell it, feel that tactile. They don't get that from just looking at the screen. You lose all that. So you really should have samples printed and brought into your studio and have people actually look at this stuff. And I guarantee you will sell more. No questions asked. Absolutely.
Your sales will definitely increase. The printed products are really important. And guys, when we talk about printed products, we're not talking about coffee mugs, and we're not talking about T-shirts. We're talking about cutting edge, innovative products. Right. These curved metal prints that H&H had, the die cut metal shapes that H&H had. They had these beautiful leather bound, almost like a satchel type of an album. It was actually in prototype, and I absolutely loved it. I mean, it felt like an Indiana Jones type of leather satchel that flipped open, and the pages were printed on a rough edge, almost like a watercolor stock, and they were actually stitched into the leather binding. It was just gorgeous.
So that's the kind of stuff that I'm talking about, guys. Something that makes you unique. Yep. So you find companies like that, like H&H, and you really need to kind of get in bed with them, kind of marry them, because those are the ones that really elevate you as a photographer, or at least elevate your business. So when people look at your work, they're like, wow, this guy's just got some really cool stuff. The other guy just has this leather album that I've seen 1,000 times. This guy's got just like really neat stuff. So no matter who you use, obviously H&H is absolutely great. You want to look at stuff that's custom, a little bit more than just the absolute norm. Like I always say, you need to be stellar. You can't be that mediocrity is no longer what we're looking for. We need something stellar, something that really, really sets you apart.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I'm so excited to work with Collages, because I know their print back end is H&H. They've got a great digital product, and all the feedback that I got about what our offering, current photographers offering of the photographer portfolio and business websites, just got a lot of really great feedback. I mean, everybody loved what we did, and that's really, that's definitely proof of concept. I mean, they loved it, and they really liked the price. So anyway, stay tuned. If you haven't already, head over to currentphotographer.com, click on the Websites for a Photographer, the Learn More button. You can sign up to get on the notification list. I think you guys are going to be pretty happy with what we've got.
Yeah, absolutely. So what we're going to do this week is going to be a little bit different. We're going to shut up a little bit for a little bit, and we're going to
let some other people do the talking.
Yeah, we're going to let some other people talk. So basically, I went kind of booth to booth to some of the folks that we wanted to get some interviews with, and what I did is we just simply did audio, and we just interviewed them. We let them talk about some of the products. What we're going to do is we're going to play them, and then we'll kind of talk about it after we're done listening to them. But the first company that we saw when we were there was Acme Camera Company, which is really quite interesting. So let's go ahead and take a listen to them.
So we're based in Salt Lake City, Utah, and we are primarily a photographic equipment rental house. So we rent all your standard Canon, Nikon lenses and cameras. We also do a fair amount of grip, light stands, lots of light modifiers, reflectors, diffusers. So we try to be a one-stop shop for rental equipment in Utah.
Gotcha. So let me ask you, as far as the rental equipment goes, this is rental for anybody. They can come to you, rent it for a day, a week, a month. How does that
Correct,
work?
yeah. So they're just one-day intervals, but you can do it up to a week or a month, whatever you feel like. One thing we do, one of our main aims really is to kind of put these tools in the hands of everyone. So our motto is creative tools in the hands of everyone. So one thing we do is we rent 35 millimeter film cameras to college students for the semester.
Nice.
It's a $35 fee. They keep it for the duration of their entire class.
Nice.
Just kind of makes that all a lot more accessible.
Right. Instead of you having to go buy the camera and then you might not ever use it again, kind of get their feet wet. Exactly. Get their feet wet. And I see you have some old gear too.
Yeah. So we also do some used gear. We kind of clean stuff up and refurbish it and resell it. We're big fans of instant photography, so we really like the Polaroid land cameras, pack film cameras. So we brought a bunch of those to the show.
Gotcha.
They're all ready to go and take beautiful pictures.
Absolutely. So you're, I guess, promoting also film, right?
Yeah.
So unbelievable, right?
Yeah.
Is there people actually doing film?
Tons of film. Yeah, that's a big part of our customer base, actually, is our film shooters.
It's hard to find cameras that are refurbished that will actually work. And like you're saying, you go onto eBay, let's say you're in college, and you go and pull a camera, and now you find out that the shutter doesn't work or there's other problems. This way, you're able to rent it to them, and they know that they're going to get a quality camera, and they're going to be able to use it for the semester and then return it to you.
Right. It's guaranteed to work.
Exactly. If they want, they can buy it, I would imagine.
Yeah,
right?
we do often do that, and we have others for sale as well.
So if they want to get to know more of the Acme Camera Company, where is it that's the best place for them to go and take a look?
One of our favorite outlets really is Instagram. So
Excellent.
we're Acme Camera Co. on Instagram. Of course, we're on Facebook. We have our own website too, which is acmecamerarental.com.
Well, thanks a lot. I really appreciate it.
That's great. Thank you.
So, all right, thanks a lot, Jacob. It was a really interesting conversation we had with him. I like it. It's just a different type of small mom and pop company that just offers equipment for rental, but they do it a little bit different, right? It just has a like a vintage feel to it, right?
Yeah, it really does. I mean, not only do they have today's equipment like all of the other rental companies carry, but they also have that vintage stuff, which is really neat that you can buy or rent. It's really cool. I like how they kind of have a little bit of a focus on the schooling too, to where they can get the cameras they need for their classes and stuff. I really like that a lot. I think it's a nice niche.
Yeah, absolutely. I know when I went to school was that we had to get a 35 millimeter camera, but you don't know which one. You're as green, you're like the green thumb guy. So you're just like, you don't know what to do. So having one you can go and rent for a very small amount for the semester, that gives you the opportunity to go buy it after the fact, or if you want, just bring it back. So I like the way they're helping the schools with that stuff. That's really, really nice.
Yeah, very cool. So next on the list was Lauren from Tether Tools. Now, Tether Tools, we've spoken with a few times, and we actually have a little bit of a history with them. So we wanted to hear about their latest products.
Sure. We've introduced some really great new products within the tethering space. One of the main products is called the Tether Boost, and what it is a USB 3.0 port controller. If you're shooting tethered with a USB 3.0 camera, which includes currently some Canon, Nikon, Mamiya, Phase, those cameras have a different USB spec than the computers that most photographers are shooting into. So there's issues with signal connectivity between those two devices. What the Tether Boost does is acts as a conduit in the middle, regulating that power and ensuring that that signal stays strong all the way through a tethered photo shoot.
Right, so you don't get any droppage or any kind of loss of any kind.
Exactly.
And this way that frustration is gone. And once you connect to it, then everything is golden. You'll be able to go from beginning to session to end of session without any kind of hiccups.
Exactly. Once you connect in, your signal is strong all the way through, and the device actually has 4 different ports and 4 different LED signal indicators.
Nice.
So if for some reason you do lose a connection, you can know that your signal is strong by looking at your device and troubleshoot other things. So it's really nice from that perspective to make sure you're always connected, you don't drop your signal, and you don't close out a session. It also has the opportunity to power it, so you can add wall power to it. Or
Nice.
rock solid external battery pack, which we offer, can be plugged into the Tether Boost and help power that device as well. What benefit that offers is that your camera battery will not drain nearly as fast while you're shooting tethered on a long day shoot.
Right, nice. So you don't have to go and attach the camera to external power. And we know that time is money. So if we don't have any kind of loss, and we don't have to start over, or you just missed that perfect shot, it didn't show up on the monitor because it didn't get through. This is definitely a solution to a major problem that happens, especially now with USB 3.
Yeah,
so there's another product. What else you got?
There is. We have another product came out. One of the main things in tethering right now is that people can actually cable into Android and Microsoft-based tablets. You can only currently go wireless into an iPad. You can go with the cable directly into many of the tablets like Surface, Wacom, Acer, Dell tablets. What we've introduced is a universal tablet mount that goes onto almost every tablet in the marketplace currently, from an Amazon Kindle Fire or iPad Mini all the way up to a Wacom or a Surface or Panasonic tablet, and it allows you to mount it onto your photography gear. So you can put that tablet on the top of a tripod, off of an arm and a clamp, off of your light stand, anywhere that you want to mount it in your photo workflow, you can access your tablet.
And it's universal. I'm actually seeing it, right? So it's universal, and it'll adjust to the size. And we know, Android is notorious for constantly changing sizes. Apple even they're now changing sizes. You get a Samsung or whatever it is, they're constantly, the bezel changes and whatever. This is universal, so it will actually go up to how big?
It goes up to 22 inches. Yeah, 22 inches diagonal measurement, all the way down to, I think, 8.5 inches diagonal measurement. So
now that's useful.
Yeah, it's really useful. It helps people at all ends of the spectrum, as far as size of their tablet. And then it also has 2 different bracket options. One is the Low Pro, which has a 1/4-20 and an Arca plate, so you can put it on a ball head, your smaller arms and clamps, or it has a larger bracket that goes on like our master arm and master clamp connection, or directly on the top of a light stand with an elbow. Tether Tools supports the photographer's need to move your images instantly to any screen you want to port them to. So while you're shooting, if you have an assistant or a client or someone else on the shoot with you that you want to see the images immediately, you can either cable into a laptop and everyone can gather around and look at the images. If you want that for your own self and you'd like your client to have a tablet a little bit further away from the shooting set so that they can watch the shoot while it's happening, we help you mount the gear, connect the gear, and port the images during that kind of a tethered photography shoot.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, thanks a lot. We appreciate it. We hope you have a fantastic 2015 WPPI.
Thanks very much for stopping by. We appreciate it.
We've had a relationship with Tether Tools for a little while. We actually started interviewing them when they were a brand new startup company. I think the first time was at WPPI 3 years ago.
Right.
And it's really neat to see how they've grown. I mean, they started off with a few handful of products. They were like one of the first companies to come up with iPad brackets and mounts so you could actually attach them to stands. Nobody was really doing that at the time. And they were kind of just starting the whole tethering with the iPad, and when all of that stuff first came out new. So it's really awesome to see how far they've come with their technologies, with their inventions, with their innovations. It's not just building on something that's existing. I mean, they're really coming up with some cool ideas. So I'm pretty excited about them.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, seeing it firsthand is always nice. Being at the booth with Lauren and looking at this, that Aero Tab is really a cool piece of machinery. It's the clamp. The way it is how things are always changing sizes, Trevor. This thing just is very universal. Hence the name. It will just clamp onto anything, and then you can stick a ball head, you can stick anything on the back of it and mount it anywhere. So I really like that a lot. But what I really just this is the kind of like the thing that really sets it off is this new USB 3 controller that they have. I know you guys have been shooting, a lot of you people shoot tethered like I do. And when you're in the studio and you got the long cable and you're moving it around and futzing around, and what happens? You start losing pictures, you lose sync. You're like, oh, wait a second, hold on, I need to resync up, blah, blah, blah. And how many did you lose? You know, you buy the camera will still have the pictures on there, but the problem is, guys, the people that are watching over your shoulder, you know, they're not seeing it on the monitor anymore because it's no longer the tethering is broke. So this new product allows that signal to be constant, and I really like that a lot because you don't have this outage all the time, just moving the cable around. And it's not necessarily that the cable gets loose; it's just that moving around of cable. Sometimes it has to do with the length of the cable and the signal having to go through that cable. So this was just one of those products that there was a problem, and now here's a solution, and it's a great solution. Yep. So I really like that a lot. Really, really cool. Yeah. So anyways, moving on, we saw I saw this guy at this booth, and I'm looking at what the products are, and I'm like, wow, this makes a lot of sense. And the company was called Clearbags, and it's a very, very interesting company. Let's go ahead and hear from Danny over at Clearbags.
Well, I'm Danny with Clearbags, and what we do is we specialize in packaging for photographers. We've been doing it for over 20 years. All of our bags and boxes and packaging that we offer photographers are all acid-free and archival, but it's also really well known for its clarity and its price point. We actually produce so much of this stuff and that we turn around to give the savings back to the customers. So we feel that it's just a really great solution. We have a great customer service team. We're there for you. Anytime you need samples, we can do free samples. You can either go to clearbags.com and we have a sample link, or you can give us a call at our direct number, which in this case is 800-233-2630.
Excellent. And it's my understanding also that not only do you have these clear bags that are archival and they're perfect for putting photographs in, but you can also do something really cool with them and put logos on them.
Absolutely. Yep. So we've been doing a lot of custom work. In fact, the custom section of our business has been really growing. And what it is when our customers grow to a certain point and they want to be able to fulfill their product needs and basically have less hands involved into it. The fulfillment part is something that our end customers take care of, and sometimes we know it can take a long time, and so we're trying to streamline that process. So we can do a lot of custom work, and it really varies on the customer's particular project, but in some cases we have a lot of repeat customers, ones that have been using the same products, and so they enjoy the idea of being able to imprint or put their company info on it, and it really ranges. They'll either put a small section on that, on maybe 10% of the packaging, and sometimes they'll do 100% on it. It just really depends on the project and what they want to show through. So if it's really important for the contents to see through, that will determine how much printing you want to do on that.
We know branding is important, number one, but also knowing where this photograph came from 5, 10, 15 years.
Absolutely. Oh, absolutely. So that was the other thing that we're really well known for, is just the ability to archive your work. A lot of times, people will use acid-free boxes, which I've used in the past with a lot of great success. But personally, now that I've been working with clear bags for a number of years, I prefer to put all of my prints in clear bags. And so when I run into photographers or even family members where they'll have piles of photographs and it's just not properly archived, even going back to photos from the 70s and 80s, and you see those specific style of photo papers that they used back then, and they're starting to yellow, they're starting to do something, and I'll tell them, you got to get that into something that's going to save that, because that's one of a kind, unless you go ahead and reproduce that. That's the original there, and there's something that's worth saving there. So I definitely recommend doing that.
Right. We know when there's a fire or a flood or something, the first thing that people pick up is those photographs to run out the house or run out of the building with. So they're just like that. They're your masters. They're part of your life, and to be able to keep them and keep them safe is fantastic. I'm hearing also you're saying paper all the time, but for some of the old guys that actually have that old, what do we call it, film.
Yep.
You know, you can also take that film and stick it into these. They are archival, right?
Definitely.
And now that will make them last indefinitely also, right?
Absolutely. So that's another section that we've done. We actually have covered that for a long time, and it just kind of goes without saying for us, but that's a great point to make. Yeah, if you have your negatives and your film out there, you definitely want to archive that as well. And so this style packaging really works well for that. And even if you have different sizes, things that you've had in the past that you haven't properly archived, we can send you different sizes to test. And a lot of times people will actually put them in a more of a general, broader size so they can fit all kinds of different ones in there, which we're more than happy to help you with that too.
Fantastic. So where's the best place to find you?
Definitely going direct will be the best place, and it's www.clearbags.com. It's one word.
So, all right, we'd like to thank Danny over there at Clearbags. It was a really interesting conversation, and it's just one of those that kind of hits my heart because I look at it and I'm like, I can use that for my business. So it's really, really nice. And the thing that I like about it is that when you look at it, it really looks pro. So not only you're getting that archival, portion of it, but then you can customize these things, either a box or customize the bags themselves, specifically to your business, to your studio. So
yeah, to really
I
get
like
that branding in there, get your logo on the clear plastic and stuff. That way, it doesn't look, it doesn't look generic.
Yeah, and it's my understanding, talking with him, it's really not as expensive as you would think it would be. So it's something that I'll definitely look into. We'll definitely be ringing them over there.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, we're going to take a quick break to hear from one of our sponsors, and then we'll be back with a few more interviews. Are you frustrated with slightly out of focus images when you know your autofocus spot was dead on? It's simply not your fault. From manufacturer to manufacturer, and even lens copy to lens copy, there are slight variances to the exact spot where light is being focused onto the sensor. Finally, there's a product that allows you to compensate for those variances and make sharper images immediately. Focus Pyramid, the autofocus lens calibration tool, is an absolute must for every photographer. If you want to make the sharpest images possible, then you need to take control over your camera's focusing system. With the Focus Pyramid, you can calibrate all of your lenses on your lunch break. The Focus Pyramid makes lens calibration quick and easy at an affordable price. So give your lenses a new lease on life and take your photography to the next level. Head over to focuspyramid.com/DPC and get an additional 10% off just for being a show listener.
So, all right, guys, we are back. So our next interview was with a company called 17 Hats, and we interviewed a guy named Donovan. Let's go ahead and take a listen.
Good morning, Joseph. Nice to meet you.
Good morning.
Morning. So, yeah, we're very excited to be at WPPI. It's our first show. We launched 17 Hats in October. It's been growing rapidly ever since. And the great thing about 17 Hats is that it really helps you manage your business more efficiently on a daily basis. So it handles your clients from the first moment they contact you to when they pay your last invoice. Nice. So from pricing proposals to contracts to invoicing to your bookkeeping as well.
So it's kind of like a beginning to end solution.
Yes.
So you're not having a lot of different things going on to be able to conduct.
Correct.
Basically.
It's kind of your virtual assistant for all your administrative overhead.
Nice. Very, very nice. So let's see, as far as the actual putting together, you have invoicing, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
What else? What are all the pieces of the puzzle that you're, that
Yes.
are coming together in these 17 Hats?
So we try to solve every piece of the puzzle that you have with administration. So it starts with sending out a pricing proposal. And you can have pretty deep pricing proposals.
Sure.
So your clients can go in, choose what they want. Once they accept the proposal, it will then automatically send them the contract. They can send the contract online. Once it's signed, it will then send them the invoice and then go ahead and pay that online.
Gotcha.
Once that's paid, it will update your bookkeeping. Then with our automation, you can automate sending out emails, sending out questionnaires, all on specific time points during your project. So if you're doing a wedding, you can have the system send out a questionnaire 2 weeks prior to the wedding. After the shoot, 1 week after, it can send a thank you email. All those things that normally take some time to set up, one button, and it will do it for every shoot you have.
Right. Automation is key because I know I will fall behind sometimes and not send that thank you out when I need to send that thank you or send that reminder notice to an invoice. By having this all set up into a system that will allow you to do it automatically, basically. It's almost like hiring a VA, a virtual assistant
yeah.
for you, and then they're able to basically do it all for you.
And you can have the peace of mind
Right.
that the business is taken care of, and you can focus on what you really love. Yeah.
Right.
And the system will also integrate with your email. So if you miss an email for a client, the system will actually warn you, like, hey, you've missed an email from Joe, you want to respond to that. So that way, you never have to stress out too much, like, oh, what do I have to take care of? The system will know what you need to be doing.
Gotcha. Just like we always say, time is money. And as photographers, we want to spend more time behind the camera and less time in front of the computer.
Absolutely. I mean, nobody's passionate about sending out invoices, right?
Right.
So we really try to take that part for you and just make it a lot simpler and save you a ton of time.
Excellent, excellent. So if they want to see 17 Hats and maybe demo and take a look at it, where's the best place for them to go?
So just go to 17hats.com, the number 17 and hats. There's a free trial, no credit card requirement, just sign up and you have 2 weeks to test out the product.
Yeah, I really like this 17 Hats solution that's out there. It really feels like a fully baked contact relationship, business solution that we really all need, because most of us are doing a hodgepodge, I'm sure.
Yeah.
If we raise a hand, who has a good, full-fledged, fleshed out solution that they're using, and not many people will.
No,
so I like that a lot. We talked about them back on episode 178 a little bit. I would definitely go and suggest checking out their website, getting on the free trial, at least kick the tires a little bit.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the conversation over there with Donovan. Yeah, they launched, I think it was October in 2014. And like you said, it's not half-baked. This is like a fully baked product. And I do agree with you when it comes to having things all in one. Right now, we have invoicing over here. We have our photo management over here. We have our contact. We have maybe MailChimp for contacting folks through email. And then we have another thing. We have all kinds of different things that are going on. And if one thing breaks, the whole mess breaks. So it is kind of interesting. 17 hats, hence the name, putting it all into one. So I did enjoy it. And it looks like it's very interesting. Definitely worth taking a look at.
Yeah, absolutely. So the next person you spoke with was Steve from Photix, and we talked about Photix back in October on the Photo Plus Expo 2014 recap. I actually met with them and looked at some of their products, but not really being a huge flash shooter myself. I know, Joe, when you got a chance to speak with them, you kind of really got to check out their products and see what you thought. So let's listen to the interview, and then you can share some of what you thought.
Photix is a photo accessory company, and we focus mostly on softboxes, umbrellas, studio lights, continuous lights. We have award-winning flash triggers, so many things for people who shoot with off-camera flash.
So as far as this show for WPPI 2015, what is one or two products that you have that are new?
Our most popular product we have at this show is the Photix Indra 500 TTL Studio Light. We launched that at the Photo Plus show last October, and we're showing it here again. It's just starting to ship to retailers now, and it's been just an amazing response. From the photographers that do have it, they just love it.
Is that direct power as well as battery?
Has battery power and an AC adapter, so you can shoot it in the studio off of AC. It's a very lightweight studio light, shoots in full TTL, shoots in manual mode. You can high-speed sync it up to 1/8,000th of a second. Wow. And it dovetails with our entire ecosystem. So our triggers work with it. It will work with our hot shoe flashes as well.
Wow, that sounds good. 1/8,000th of a second. That's impressive. You don't see that very often.
No,
for sure. I know I was in the booth looking at the product, and I think, is that one of those really lightweight batteries that this thing is powered on, or?
Yes, the battery is a lithium-ion battery.
Wow, that's why.
With our 500-watt unit, you can get about 340 shots from that. What we announced just the week before the show was the little brother of the Indra 500, and that's the Indra 360, which is relatively the same, except it just has a little bit less power. The battery is much smaller with that one. You can still get around 340 shots, but the battery will fit into your pocket.
I'll tell you what, guys, this battery literally weighs a pound, or maybe less. I don't know. It's really lightweight. To get 300 full dumps out of that, that's amazing. That's really useful for sure.
It is, and we've had some photographers say, why can't you make the battery smaller? When I go on a shoot, I don't need 300 shots. The other good thing about the battery, the larger battery with our 500 watt second unit, you can connect that to your hot shoe flashes to power them as well for faster recharge times. With our AC adapter, you can also plug that into your hot shoe flashes, so you can run your hot shoe flashes off of AC.
If they want to come to see Photex and they're not here at the show, where's the best place to find you guys?
Best place to find us is at photex.com.
Yeah, so that was a really good conversation there. I like the product. I do like it a lot. And like you said, I shoot flash all the time. I shot flash as far as I can remember. Always a flash guy. And for years, if you do a fashion shoot, you're using these big car batteries to go and do the shoot. I mean, that's just how it was. Notorious for that. Everyone grab a battery, and they're all lead cell, and they probably weigh 80 pounds apiece. So seeing the way this is set up and using these lithium batteries, and they're so lightweight, I was like, oh my God, I got to get my hands on some of these. This is really interesting, really great. So it was a very good conversation. They have a lot of product. That's just a few things that they offer. This new Indra, 500 and the 360. The 360 is even smaller than the 500. Obviously, you don't have as many dumps, but it's even a smaller size. But for me, as a flash guy, I really enjoyed this conversation a lot. So Moving on. Studio Genie. Once again, we need some type of studio management software. So I got to speak to a nice girl. Her name was Janelle. So let's go ahead and take a listen.
What we do at Studio Genie is help all you creative types get organized and manage your studio. I'm sure you probably spend a lot more time doing busy work and managing your business than what you wish to, so we can help you out with that. Our software is interesting because there's actually two parts to it. There's the iPad app that works offline, letting you go mobile and work anywhere, anytime. And there's also the portal. So from any internet-enabled device, you can log in and get your work done. You can present and sell. You can show your offerings. You can create contracts, capture the e-signature. You can take payments. And one of the new features we recently added is the integration with Pay Anywhere. So you can simply swipe that card and take a payment, or choose any other method of payment you'd like and track that in the system. You're also able to track your expenses. So at the end of the year, when it comes to exporting data and sending it to your accountant to take care of taxes, we help make that easy too.
I understand that there's something new in the pipeline, right? That you can kind of get a little sneak peek, right? So what's coming?
That's right. We've had a lot of people very interested in this product. We are pretty new. We were here at WPPI last year, but we were not officially rolled out. So we've been live for a few months now, and we've had a lot of feedback with customers asking us for order fulfillment. So that's something that we're looking at currently adding, and should be coming out a little bit later this year for you guys.
Gotcha. So back to the couch, they can actually look at the photos and eventually be able to order them right from the couch. So
That's
you
right.
can take payment, and everything is kind of all in one.
That's right.
So you can do that in studio or out of studio. You can go to a client's location as long as you have internet access and be able to do the same thing, right?
You got it.
Fantastic. So if people want to learn more about Studio Genie, where is the best place that they can find it?
Yes, you can go to our website, which is studiogenie.net, and there's a 30-day free trial on there. So you can go online, download that, check it out, and then choose the subscription right for you.
Thank you for your time. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Joseph.
Yeah, I tell you, I really like what Studio Genie's offering as well. They are different than 17 Hats. They have similar capabilities where I think 17 Hats is more geared for business in general, where it's really applicable to the photographer. But obviously Studio Genie is geared directly for that photographer, geared for that creative. So, there is a difference there. There is a difference in capabilities. And I would say definitely check them both out because they're really good options. I don't think one is going to be perfect for everybody. I think it's going to be what your needs are. And knowing that there's a couple different solutions out there is really good.
Yeah. No, it was a good conversation also. I mean, they have the web portal, they have the iPad app, so you can actually look at your thing, look at your images offline. They have invoicing, payments, tracking for expenses, and that's always great. God knows that's just the work. To me, that's the absolutely worst thing is to get that invoicing out there, actually get payment, not forget anything. You know, people are paying net 15, net 30. Things are a mess.
Yep.
So you really need to have some type of management system. So this is definitely something to kind of, take a look at. And I squeezed them a little bit, something that wasn't NDA'd, and found out that yes, they're adding into their application a method of ordering photos, so they can do fulfillment now while you're doing everything else, and that's great. The more that you can kind of stuff into one thing and not have to do anything with a whole bunch of different things, but put it all into one, it just saves time. I mean, it's just really good. And God, that's very important for us.
So the next one is Alien Skin software, and you met with a guy by the name of Finley, and this is pretty good stuff. I remember using it back in the day in the design area, but now they really have their focus on photographers. So let's take a quick listen to them.
So today we are showing Exposure, which is our photo editing application. And Exposure has had a sort of a long history, starting out as a film simulator. So our original mission in life was to emulate all the classic films that maybe you can't get anymore. Maybe you're too busy to do anything other than shoot digital, but you want those looks from those old films.
I know. I used to be a film guy, and I tell you what, a nice old Tri-X pushed, or just that grain you cannot get.
Fantastic. Well, we found that a lot of people feel the way that you do. They have nostalgia for certain types of films, and they want to be able to bring that back. Then, of course, there's new photographers who are just looking for interesting and beautiful looks that they can do with their photographs. Maybe they want to spend a little time to polish them or finish them a little bit more, and that's what you'd use Exposure for. Alien Skin has been around since 1995 or 4 or something like that. We've been around forever. So we started out doing Photoshop plugins, and our original customers were graphic designers, and now with Exposure we've also served photographers as well.
So it integrates, is it a standalone? Does it integrate with Lightroom, with the old Aperture, let's say, that used to be around?
So we like to work wherever photographers want to work. So Exposure started life as a Photoshop plug into Photoshop with it. It became a Lightroom plugin a little later, and now you can use it as a standalone application. And in the most recent version, we've actually added raw format support. So you don't have to convert to JPEG or anything like that before using Exposure. You just bring your images in from the camera and start editing.
So it's kind of like an easy way to get certain looks, but without you having to really work. There's a lot of presets, a lot of stuff going around the back end to kind of save time, which of course is saving money, right?
Exactly. So we've got a big collection, 500 or more one-click presets that'll give you some amazing looks. And of course, if you want to go beyond that, you can start out with a preset as a starting point, and you can go over to the sliders on the right-hand side of the interface and start tweaking whatever you want to.
Gotcha. As a creative, that's really where we want to be. It's nice to get to a certain spot so we don't have to work so hard, once again saving time, but then of course we want to be able to tweak it, and I'm sure your product, you can also do that.
That's exactly it. And we find that photographers will occasionally find some presets they like, and they'll bring them in and tweak them a little bit to kind of create their own style and hopefully create a look that no other photographer in the world has.
Once you create that look, is that savable? Can you actually save that out as your custom
You can.
look?
Yep, you can save them as presets that you can access from a separate part of the interface, so you can get to them and use them whenever you want.
How's the easiest way to get in touch with you guys?
You can get to us online at www.alienskin.com.
So yeah, like you said, back in the day is the key word. I mean, they've been around since I think it was '94. Been using, I've seen their work for absolutely. It's been many years now. What are we at, like 20 or more?
Yeah, I think we bought a version of Photoshop back in the studio, and I think it came with an Alien Skin disc in it.
Yeah,
as like a bundled package.
Yeah, but it wasn't called Alien Skin. It was like eye candy.
I think it was eye candy. I think that's what it was. Yeah, and you could distort text and do some really cool stuff with it, which was cutting edge back then because you couldn't do that type of stuff in Illustrator yet.
Yeah. So like back then it was like all about that kind of that cutting edge, manipulating text, and they really got famous from taking digital photographs and making them look like film, which is kind of weird. But yeah, they introduced a lot of plugins that make pictures look like Tri-X or, push Tri-X or some type of conversion of some kind. And they did a really good job at it. And it really looked great. So they're doing more of that and more, they're going more towards the photographer industry now. They have Exposure 7, which looks really good. It's no longer only a plugin like it used to be.
Yeah.
But they also have a standalone version.
The standalone version. That's really nice.
And instead of using just JPEGs and doing the modification on the JPEGs, they also now have RAW support. Yes. So it's a lot of cool stuff going on over there. I really like the guys over there at Alien Skin.
Yeah, it's very cool.
So anyways, moving on. White Wall. Very interesting company. They are a printer. And we spoke to a girl named Marika, and she was just a doll. She was absolutely so sweet. So let's go ahead and take a listen.
Hi, Joseph. So first of all, thanks for stopping by.
Thank you.
Yes, White Wall is a German photo lab, just where you said it, and we're from Cologne. And all our products, there's over 1,000 product variations that we offer, are produced in Cologne, but we ship worldwide. And I put this out front because I know we're quite far away from the US, but our turnaround time is about 10 days. So everything should arrive in time for whatever the reason is why you picked it.
That's pretty quick.
Yeah.
From overseas, absolutely.
Yeah, so then what you see here at our booth is, first of all, our premium product, which is how we became known to. It's a real photo print, so a chemical development on Fuji crystal archive paper, and sealed under acrylic glass. The acrylic glass brings out the colors in a really fascinating, amazing way, adds a lot of depth to the picture, and makes the colors really shiny if you choose the glossy version of the acrylic glass.
I can attest to that, guys, because just sitting here, and like I was saying, I kind of prefaced it with, it looks like HDR photos. They are absolutely unbelievably rich. And being that they're chemical prints, and I'm sure you guys have heard me before, because I do fine art and I do lots of chemical printing, I still absolutely love it. It's the best way to print, and it comes out just absolutely beautiful. And this acrylic on there really brings it out. It really makes these colors pop. It looks amazing. Love it.
Thank you. Appreciate that. It's funny because you mentioned the HD. Actually, we do have a new product called, what we call it, the HD metal print. Now, it's a completely different thing. It's not a chemical development. It's a thermosublimation process. So actually, what we do is we steam the picture into the aluminum. So with high pressure and high temperature, the pores of the aluminum open, take in the picture, and reclose, meaning the product is very resistant. You can even hang it outside. It doesn't risk anything. You can scratch it. And because the aluminum is only 1 millimeter thick, it's very, very light. So that is an advantage if you want to add a frame, which is another service we offer. We handcraft over 140 different frame variations, so you can find the perfect frame for whatever substrate you choose and whatever motive you have.
Right. When you think about printing on like aluminum or some kind of metal, you would think you're going to get all of this added weight and you're going to have a problem, let's say gallery hanging it, because we know whenever you hang in a gallery there is specific things that you need to adhere to and abide by, and some of the heavyweight stuff is a hard thing to hang. But this aluminum is really, like you're saying, a millimeter, it's really lightweight, so you can hang it basically anywhere. And being that it's printed on aluminum and being that you can put it outside, you can get it wet, it's weather resistant, that's really great. Someone wants to see something on aluminum, on metal, it completely gives it a different look. Really, really nice.
Yeah, thank you. That we really, it's a new product, as I said, and we really want to show it to our audience here because a lot of photographers here are professionals, they're wedding photographers, portrait photographers, and they really like those two products as a great alternative to the standard canvas, which we offer, of course, as well. But it's something really that brings out the colors and brings out the picture better.
Right. And as a wedding photographer, you guys know that you really need to be unique and you need to have something different. everyone prints on canvas, everyone prints on paper, everyone frames or whatnot, but being that this is on aluminum, it makes it a little bit different. Putting that nice acrylic over it, it just adds it to the next level. So being different, being unique will definitely get you these jobs when you go and show these samples. So this really is nice. Where is the absolute best place where they can find the product? Maybe go see a sample or go to the website, or where's the best place to get a hold of Whitewall?
Now, the easiest way is to go to our website, whitewall.com, where you can very easily upload your picture, and then it'll show you what the picture exactly will look like. You can choose from many different standard formats, but we do produce everything in custom sizes as well. So if you have your perfect picture that you do not want to crop, then we can make that as well, with or without a frame. And if you really want to know what the material is like, you want to feel it and touch it beforehand, then you should order one of our free sample kits that you can find on the website.
Yeah, I tell you, Joe, I really like what Whitewall has to offer. They are some high-end, high-class products. I mean, German-based company. I think they're right in Cologne. The quality is just incredible. They had a beautiful display there on the floor, which is, just these amazing prints. Really like them a lot, especially the ones, the acrylic prints. Right. The prints under the acrylic. I mean, they just look like they pop off the, off the wall at you.
Yeah, and like she's saying, there's a whole batch that are actually called HD, blah blah blah. So the whole idea is that literally, if you go there and you look at these things, they look HD. I mean, it's just, they are so rich. They just look absolutely amazing. I really, really like what they're doing. They also, of course, do what I absolutely love is chemical prints. I am not a fan of blowing ink. I'm not that. I'm not that guy. I like to see chemical prints. They last longer. I like the way they look. I like that there's no pixels at all. You can't see any dots, and I just like it. And so everything is done that way. And I like their thermal transfers. So they're doing like a dye sub on top of like 1 millimeter thick aluminum that looks just absolutely amazing. So just think about this, guys. Let's say you're doing a black and white and you're doing a Mercedes-Benz, that's a silver Mercedes, and you do it on this beautiful thin 1 millimeter aluminum. So what you do is you blow out all the sections that you want that aluminum to be transparent to come through, right? So every place where you have that white, where it's completely white, lack of color at all, right through that spot, you're going to see the aluminum just pop through. I mean, what an amazing black and white that would be. So it's just really, really nice. They got 140 different kinds of frames. They're really doing it right. And like you said, they are meticulous. This place was clean, immaculate, just beautifully put together. And once again, from Cologne. And they're doing it in 10 days. I think that's really, really
international
amazing.
Shipping and producing the products within 10 days. I mean, that's great.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Absolutely.
So then you met with Harry from Mylio. We talked about Mylio back on episode 169. That was our Photo Plus Expo wrap up. I saw them there for the first time, and they had just announced their business, their product, and it really looked like a nice, fully baked product back then. And I know when you looked at it, you thought it was really well finished as well.
Mylio is a complete photo solution, and by complete I mean everything from importing, organization, metadata editing, photographic edits that are global edits and non-destructive, and automatic syncing your entire catalog to multiple devices with or without the cloud. We don't require the cloud use. And then the last part is we can automate your backup to any devices that you see fit.
That's really nice. So you don't need the cloud, you don't need internet access, so you can basically be working, as I'm seeing here in front of me, an iPad, and whatever is happening here is also happening on the studio. We call it the big machine, right?
That's correct. Like if I have a local Wi-Fi connection or a local hardwired connection, if I'm on any network with my other Mylio-enabled machines, any changes that I make to a photograph or to the organization of my photographs, that information is going to be replicated on my other devices wherever they are. So if I'm on the same Wi-Fi network, my big machine will see the changes that I've made on my iPad The other nice thing is if I'm doing work offline, say I'm on a plane and I'm making some metadata changes or edits to my photographs, crops, keywording, whatever, on my iPad on a flight, the next time I'm next to the big machine, all of that information, all of those changes are going to be applied to my catalog on all of my devices.
So you can actually modify raw images, but by just using simply the JPEGs, and then you'll go and download and go and update once you do get off the plane, let's say, and back to the studio.
Keyword, people and location tags, copyright embedment inside the photograph, all of that stuff can be done in Mylio, and then the next time on any of your devices. I have 42,000 images on my phone, and because I have them in thumbnail form, they take up only 3 gigs of space. And so I can work with the metadata on those. Those aren't editable. You need to use previews in order to edit, but still the previews are much smaller than your original raw files, so you can make the changes there and then have them apply to anything when you get back to the office.
Yeah, and I know you guys know that taking care of all of your metadata is so very important, because these days people will have work out there, metadata is being stripped by different companies, you still need to put it in there, if not you end up with orphan works or whatnot. So being able to do that from the couch, or being able to do it at home, and then allowing it to sync back when you get to studio, many times we don't have time as photographers to do all of this keywording and all of the metadata stuff that we need to do, but being able to do it on off time and then letting it sync after the fact is a really great function.
Yeah. The other option that we offer at the top level of the product, in the top level of the product you can have up to 12 devices being devices that have processors, iPads, phones, etc. And we offer catalog support of up to and beyond 500,000 images, which is a much larger catalog than will be supported without a serious drop-off in performance than by some other management software. And then the other nice thing is we offer the ability to use the cloud as a conduit, not as storage, but if you use the cloud as a conduit, you can send the information or send photos to off-site devices at the advanced level of the product. So if I, say, for example, went to Hawaii, shot a wedding, I only had a laptop and my iPad with me, I could load those images into my laptop in raw form, put the previews onto my iPad. If I had an internet connection there and I could back up my images to my home computer, have them there before I get there, make my edits on the plane on the way home, and then next time I'm next to any of my devices, all of those changes that I've done on the iPad then go to all of my other devices.
Right. So interesting you say backup. We know as photographers backup is absolutely mission critical, because if we lose a gig, we're basically out. You have to have these backups. How does Mylio work with the backups? How does it function?
Well, you can register detachable storage, NAS devices, detachable hard drives, RAID servers, etc. in your Mylio account. Now, those devices only count as extensions to your memory on your computers. So those don't count towards your device count, which is the first thing that I'll say. But once it's in there and they're registered, you can then, from the sync panel, decide where each picture or each folder of pictures or where your entire library goes and in what form. So you can tell all your RAWs to go to this hard drive from 2014, all your RAWs to go to that hard drive from 2015. And the other nice thing is once they're there and they're registered in Mylio, by looking at even a thumbnail of that image on your phone, you know exactly which hard drive your originals are stored on and if you have them backed up in more than one place, because we really try to encourage a 3-3-2 policy. 3 copies of your originals on 3 devices in 2 locations. That way, if something happens, a theft, a fire, a tornado, whatever, you know that you have your images in at least one other place, and then you can rebuild your catalog from there, which is what Mylio does. We can automate your backup and make sure that you know that your images are backed up in more than one place.
So I'm sure everyone's going to want to know exactly how to and where to find Mylio. What's the easiest way or the best place to go?
You can find us at Mylio.com, or you can find out who our retailers are and learn more about it from them on our website as well.
Perfect. Thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
That's right, guys. Yeah, it's very interesting. I like Mylio. I like what they're doing over there. It does feel fully baked, as we say. I like the idea of syncing that catalog from any device, anywhere. I like the idea of doing a shoot, let's say a wedding of, let's say, 2,000 images, throwing the thumbnails onto your iPad, leaving for the day, going home, and then kind of going through them and maybe doing some keywording or maybe some stars or whatever, some selections. And then what's cool is as soon as you walk back into the studio, it hooks up with your Wi-Fi, bang, it goes and uploads all of those settings and all of those changes and everything that you did from the night when you were at home right onto the main, we call it the big machine, right?
Yeah. Then it syncs it up, and you've got everything in your studio, the way you had it on your phone, the way you had it on your iPad. It really looks good. It's really a nice looking product. So I'm interested to see where they're going to be in the next couple years. How they are going to grow, and the type of market share that they get.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I guess to wrap up, maybe we can kind of give you a little a quick synopsis of WPPI, what we thought of it, and so what say you, Trev? What are we thinking about WPPI this year?
Yeah, I mean, WPPI is always a great show. It's a lot of fun. I mean, you're in Vegas. I mean, how could you go wrong there? Right. There's just so much to do, so much to see. Just the fun, the exciting environment of Vegas. Being down on the floor for 3 days, I did feel that the foot traffic was a little lighter than, let's say, it was last year or the year before that.
Right.
But attendance was not down.
Right.
I think it was basically the way they structured the classes, because the classes are really why us photographers want to go, for the education. The trade show, the floor, that's an added benefit for us to check out new products and meet vendors and possibly explore their services. But the education is really the key. And I think maybe the way they were running the classes, maybe back to back or what have you, there wasn't enough break time where you had the huge influx of people down on the floor like we've had in the past.
Right.
But with that said, we still saw a lot of people by the booth.
No, absolutely. It's funny you say that. I did speak to a couple of guys from WPPI, and they said that attendance was up by I think they said 4%. So it was actually 4% higher than the previous year, even though you're saying that foot traffic was less. So once again, constructive criticism. I would say yes, it must have to do with the seminars. They have the actual education part of it. Yep. Maybe they just need to put in some more breaks and structure it in such a way that people can get to the trade show floor to be able to see these vendors a little bit more. But yeah, like you said, it's the integral part of WPPI is the education. So you can't take away from that either. So how you fix it, I don't know. The thing that I would say is if we're seeing a larger gain in traffic as far as going, the number of people that are actually registered and foot traffic is slightly light, there's got to be something that's going on there that they can probably work at to kind of fix. But like you said, it was a wonderful show. You're in Vegas.
Absolutely.
MGM Grand is just grand. It's just absolutely unbelievable, right? Yep. We just love MGM Grand. And the show itself, remember guys, when you go to WPPI, you are flying to the desert. The people that go, they really want to be there. They want to learn. They want to see.
It's a commitment.
It's a commitment. Whereas, for example, with Photo Plus Expo, you have a lot of foot traffic. You have probably, bigger numbers, but at Photo Plus Expo, you have a lot of the kids coming by from college, from breaks, times. Yep. People are just coming in, passing by and whatnot.
Kind of off the street type of thing.
Off the street, exactly. So you have bigger numbers, but I think it's these folks that are there at WPPI, they really, really want to be there and they want to see the products. They want to see what's new. They want to get the education. They want to know what they can do to make their business more productive, make more money. So that's what they're really there for. So it was great. It was wonderful.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to it next year. We'll see how things work out. Whether we'll be there in exhibitor capacity, whether we'll be there as press. Things change so fast. I tell you. I mean, just even while we were there, so much happened. So many great things happened. that are really going to affect our futures. So, who knows what next year is going to bring, but, all I can say is it was fun. We had a blast. It was definitely worth the trip. If you guys can make it next year, if you didn't make it this year, I would say definitely go. Save your pennies and get
make
on
the
out
trip
to Vegas.
Absolutely. And I just, kind of to close, I really wanted to thank everyone for providing the interviews as you did. You guys were great.
Yep.
It's just always nice to be able to meet with people. Also, we met with some of our fans and kind of hung out and said hello with you guys. It was a really nice time. And we just want to kind of thank everyone. Definitely thank the guys over at WPPI. Thanks to folks that were at the press room, because there was many days where I was up in the press room doing work and talking with fellow press and having great conversation and eating and drinking and being merry, so to speak,
that's right.
in between
That's right.
all of these interviews, and it's like, hey, Joe, don't you need to go? Don't you have like a 3:30? Yeah. It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it a lot.
Good. Yeah, and I want to give just a big special thank you to collages.net and to H&H Color Labs for hosting me for the 3 days. I think it was really productive. It was really great. You probably saw some of my tweets go out in reference to them. So I definitely suggest, swinging over and checking out their offerings as well.
Yeah. And if there's something that you guys can do for us, if you can do anything for us, and that would be like that page, right? Go over to the YouTube page, throw in a comment or throw in a like or give us a thumbs up. Some kind of anything that you can do is always nice, because that's really what brings us to the top. And when you search for photography, you find us. Anything you can do is always great. And of course, visit our website and of course Facebook at the same time. So,
absolutely. All right, man, we are done. Let's hit the road. So if people want to connect with you outside of the website, what's the best way for them to reach you?
You can find me on Twitter, and that's at Joseph Christina, and that's Christina without an H.
Yes, and you can connect with me on Twitter. It's at Trevor Current.
So, all right, everyone, we are out of here for yet another week. You can get all the show notes from this episode by visiting digitalphotographycafe.com/179. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/dphotocafe, or call our comment line 440-345-6707. Once again, that's 440-345-6707, and we will see you next week.
You've been watching the Digital Photography Cafe show with Trevor Current and Joseph Christina. Subscribe to our YouTube channel with any compatible device by visiting youtube.com/dphotocafe. Be sure to subscribe to our audio feed through iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn, and Xbox Music apps, or through RSS. Visit digitalphotographycafe.com for show notes and to connect with your hosts.